the virtual Edinburgh International Harp Festival. It's day 3 of the festival and we're about to have our 3rd workshop. Today, that workshop comes from Ira Lynn Jones. Ira Lynn Jones is originally from Wales, but she's now based in Manchester. She's a freelance professional pedal harpist who teaches at the Royal Northern College of Music and plays with a variety of musicians, including the Halley Orchestra. I think it's safe to say that she's one of the most respected harp teachers in the UK. She has an amazing ability to bring harp players of all types together. Whether you play pedal harp, whether you play lever harp, Ira will work with you and make you feel positive about your music. So her workshop is open to all harpists. Whether you play pedal, lever, triple, small lap harp, please watch this workshop. She'll be she's kind of doing some technical things and musicality kind of ideas. It's just watch it, it's worth seeing. Now, if you'd like to find out more about what Ira does, this is her website. And particularly have a look at her shop. She had a new booklet of exercises, pick and mix 2 technical exercises and top tips, which she was going to launch at our festival. So please do have a look at that and maybe consider purchasing it to further your technique. So what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Ira Lynn Jones. I'm originally from Wales, but I now live near Manchester in the northwest of England. I was due to be a guest tutor at this year's Edinburgh International Harp Festival 2020, and I'm delighted to be part of this online festival. This is a great opportunity to say a big thank you to the joint artistic directors Isabel Miras and Patsy Seddon for inviting me back again. And a big shout out to Rachel Hare, who has put this online event together. It was going to be quite a busy festival for me again. Private lessons, a masterclass for lever and pedal harpists, kindly sponsored by the UK Harp Association, a duet performance with And Enham, and 2 5-day courses. The first course was pick and mix for elementary level players, focusing on technical developments. Pedal Power 2 was a continuation of the pedal harp class that I directed last year. We had a fully booked class of 15 pedalers, and a definite highlight for me was hearing them perform in the Wednesday concert in the Memorial Hall. But none of that could have happened without the support of some of our harp exhibitors. So in no particular order, I'd like to thank once again the following: Pilgrim Harps, Salvi Music London, Bethan Watson at the Harp Studio, Clive Morley Harps, Telena Vining Harps, representing Camac. So what are we going to do today? Well, let's recreate what you would hear on one of my courses. So this video is just in my little studio at home in the garden. It's not going to be edited, so it's going to be very real. I've got some ideas going and then I'll see how the flow takes me. It's for pedal harps, lever harps. In fact, if you've got a harp, just grab it now, set it in C major, and let's go. So C major. We're going to do a strengthening exercise. We have a lot more time on our hands at the moment, so it's the ideal time to slow down and really build strength in our fingers. I'm not going to give you music. I want you to listen and try out the exercise. You can pause the video, but do come back. Don't leave me here. Come back and there'll be more that you will learn along the way. So the notes that we're going to use for this first section is C, then D, C and E, and C and F. So fairly straightforward to remember. I want you to place finger 2 on the C and the thumb on the D, and try and place them together at the same time. And play. And do play slowly. Squeeze the strings so you have good contact, and take your time. Breathe in and out. No point doing these exercises if you don't do them slowly and do them well. It's just a waste of time, to be perfectly honest. So just really enjoy connecting with the strings. Slow down your breathing and do them slowly. So once again, C and D. Now we're going to move that thumb up one string to the E and replace finger 3 on the C. And we're going to move the thumb up one string again to the F, replacing the 4th finger on the C. I'll do this once again for you to listen to. Sounding good? I don't know the answer to that. Only you can hear yourself. So you have to continually ask yourself the question, does it sound good? Am I happy with that sound? Do I feel in control? Let's do variation. We're going to play the exercise again, but this time the 2nd finger is going to play the starting note twice. Moving on to the 3rd. The 3rd on the C, you're going to play that 3 times. Move the 4th onto the C, and you've guessed it, we're going to play the 4th 4 times. Each time really enjoying that action of the fingers going into the palm, articulating deeply with a good controlled sound, and the thumb relaxing over each time. Now, I did say that you can play on any harp for this tutorial, and you can be of any level. I think it's even more important if you're at an intermediate or advanced level to go back to the basics. So if you think this is too easy, I would actually think again, record yourselves and make sure that you are doing all these things to the best of your ability. We're going to do a variation of that sequence to strengthen some of the weaker fingers, starting with 3 and 2 only. So the same sequence of notes, but this time using 3 and 2 each time. So thumb is not in use, so it just relaxes over in the closed position. Now, fingers 4 and 3. So this last one might feel a little bit unusual because you might not have done much practice on the spacing of a fourth between the fourth finger and the third finger. But it's really important for something we're going to do later on in the session. So, a few things to look out for. Thumb high, second finger low. We've already talked about the articulation and the relaxation, the squeezing of the string. Make sure you're not hugging the string, that you've got a nice pad to work from. Notice the space between the thumb and the second finger. My pencil should go in there easily. The next sequence with 3 and 1. This can happen. You're playing 3 and 1 and the second finger is not needed, but for some reason that second finger can decide to come out. I call it coming out to play, but actually second finger should just hang. If you're not using a string, it should be in that closed position. The same for 4 and 1. Sometimes the middle fingers come out. Have you seen that shape? If you have in your own playing, try and correct it. Just let those fingers drop, let them hang loosely, and 4 and 1. There you go. So that's the first set of exercises. The next point I'd like to make is about reading music. I know some people struggle with this, and one element which can really help is recognizing intervals on the page and identifying shapes. So look at music, look through it and say to yourself, right, that's a fifth, that's an octave, that's a triad, that's a first inversion of an F triad, that's a dominant seventh. All these shapes are what you're going to be playing in all your wonderful tunes. So you'll see a fifth, and the next thing you do is actually train your fingers to open up to the space of the fifth. You know that that is how a fifth feels. The same with an octave. That's the spacing for an octave. Close your eyes and decide, right, you're going to play a fifth or a third or an octave, just to see if you're really comfortable with that. In every practice or course, you should give yourself a few moments to pause. Don't play continuously. And definitely when we've got this time on our hands, the tendency might be to play too much. But we have to have breaks. And this leads me nicely to talk about posture. Make sure your head is, nicely balanced on top of your neck, that your jaw, you're not clenching your jaw when you're playing, that your shoulders nicely relaxed down. Just flop your arms down to release any tension that might have been in your wrists or your arms. Sit with a straight back, but make sure it's not too straight and there's tension at the bottom of your spine. Sit up and then relax into your sitting bones. So notice this is sitting up straight and this is me relaxing into my sitting bones. Both feet firmly on the floor. Make sure the harp fits you, that you don't try to fit around the harp so that you're twisting your back and especially your neck. You will want to look at the strings of course, you have to do that. You all have to. But if you are twisting too much to look at the strings, you are going to have problems with your neck. So every practice session, take a few minutes to relax. Be aware that we need to take care of our hands. I won't be impressed if some of my students come back later on this year with lots of blisters on every finger. It's not a badge of honour to have this at all. It means that your practice hasn't been going to plan. You've overdone an aspect of it. So it's learning when to stop is as important as learning when to keep going. Any sign of pain, you stop. Try and work out the source of the pain. Have you been overstretching a finger or overdoing a thumb action? And rest as much as possible, and then gradually go back to practicing. The next stage is thinking about triads. So we're in our preparation zone. If I was just going to play these 3 strings in a row, C, D, E, I would just bring out my fingers quite close together and pop them on the strings. Before a triad, I need to open a lot more because I need a gap to get away from the strings I'm not using. So do make sure that you open your hand wide. The tendency when you see a triad written C, E, G is to bring the 3rd finger out, then the 2nd, and then the thumb. This can result in the position being like this. Can you see the thumb is quite low? I like to think of the thumb as the leader of the pack. It comes out of the hand first. It releases the fingers into the spacing you need, whether it's 3 next to each other, 3 strings next to each other, or the triad shape. So even though I'm going to play the C first, it's the thumb that comes out of the hand first. This is a root position triad, C, E, G. First inversion, we put the C on top, move our fingers, E, G, C, and then we move the E on top and we have G, C, E. And suddenly you'll see that that exercise I did right at the start of 3 and 2 with an interval of a 4th is needed for this second inversion triad. So incredibly important to get comfortable with our spacing. And then you just add the thumb. Arpeggios, very similar. You have 4, 3, 2, 1, C, E, G, C. What happens is you get to doing arpeggios and you practice lots of linking arpeggios, etc., etc. But sometimes we forget to zone in on the weak points, which are the bottom 2 notes, the 4 and the 3 being strong and being played together. Then play E and G together. Play all 3. And then add the thumb to do the whole arpeggio. Spread chords are very nice on the harp. To get that so this sounds easy, do this exercise. Just a 4th, then replace. Then play 4 and 3. Notice how my hand is still. Replace. 4, 3, 2. Replace. 4, 3, 2, 1. And you gradually work on getting that action faster. So I haven't given you music today, but I am launching a new booklet. It was due to be launched at the festival on next week, Saturday. And here it is. So it's Pick and Mix 2, and it's technical exercises for harpists. So some of these exercises today and development of those, continuation of those exercises are in that book. I launched Pick and Mix 1 last year and it became very, very popular. They're £5 and downloadable from my website. It also, in my shop, I also have some CDs, some original tunes, some arrangements, and music by other harpists that I'm very happy to promote as well. So do have a look if you want some new ideas. The next exercise, it's all about scales. We can't get away from scales. So if you want to play the fast jigs and reels, you are going to have to be really confident with scales. So we set the first placement of the scale, which is the first 4 notes. Again, place them all together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. I think that sounds great. Do you agree though? Did you sound great? Remember, keep listening to yourselves. The second placement is when we bring the 4th under. So we cross under with a 4th to place that as the bridge between the 2 positions. So I'm crossing under just with a 4th. Okay, so at this point the 4th is left on by itself. The problem occurs if you place the 4th too high. The 4th too high, can you see those middle fingers come out again? So think where you've placed the 4th on the C, and they should more or less be in the same line. So the 4th, when it comes back, should be on the same line as where you started. There. Then you move to place the group again. Notice the palm. The palm should always be behind the fingers that you are using. So we're using these strings. The palm is there, so I can put my pencil in there again and play. So 4th under, low. So I've got to move my hand a little bit so the palm is now here. So it's supporting the fingers that I'm using. There's no point having your hand up here and stretching it down there to play. Do you see what I mean? So if I'm going to be playing down there, I have to move my hand to be behind the strings that I need. Okay. So the next stage is playing some grace notes. Grace notes are frills and ornaments to a melody, and they can really lift a tune. They always sound quite easy, which is a successful player, but like everything, they need a little bit of work. And I can see, behind me today, that beautiful starfish clarsach. And my favourite tune to play on that harp is the Swan LK243 by Katrina Mackay. She was a student of mine for many years and is now a great friend and a frequent artist at the festival. A fun fact is that the swan was actually written on that instrument. So I'm just going to play the opening of it for you to listen out for some of those ornaments, grace notes. Okay, so you heard me play the melody note and do a fast note before it. So let's try that. We're going to play C. The melody note is C, D, and E. So that's what we want to hear. But before it, we're going to do a quick flick with the thumb on the note above, on the string above. And that's quite a light and fast action with the thumb. But making sure we can hear that melody note. You can use different fingers, 2 and 3. You can use 2 grace notes. There are lots of different combinations of ornaments that you can do with different fingerings. You can place F, E, C, A and turn the top 2 into grace notes before the tune. This is the melody, so you go. So take a simple tune and add your own ornaments. It's really quite fun to do. Okay, so I'm going to do some questions that were sent in by participants at this year's festival. I asked a few people, did they have anything they'd like me to talk about? And I was slightly overwhelmed with how many questions I got. So sadly, I can't answer them all in this tutorial, but I've chosen a couple that I thought would help everybody. So the first question had 2 parts. It was, who's my favourite composer? And can I recommend some repertoire? Okay, I really love music that is well written for the harp, in that it fits in the hands, but also a composer who understands the resonance of the instruments. I'm less enthusiastic about piano or orchestral transcriptions, which are very fast, very clever, and show off what the performer can do, which is great that they can do that. But I want to show off what the harp can do. And one composer I feel really does this is, I think people who know me will guess who it is. It's Bernard Andrés, the French harpist and composer. If you don't know his music, he is written for every level, from beginner to advanced. Some of my favourite pieces are Aquitaine, Automate, both can be done for lever or pedal harp. Specifically for pedal harp, Anamorphosis, Elegy and Lamento. Then if you play with a flautist, the beautiful Algs and the very interesting and innovative Narthex. Have a look. Next time we're at the festival, look at some of his music. I nearly guarantee that you will enjoy learning and playing his music. The second question that I really liked was, did I have any tips about improving musicianship? This is a very, very good question from Paul. They are the obvious answers of looking at what's on the page and respecting what the composer or arranger has asked you to do. Good rhythm, dynamics, phrasing, suitable style of playing, the history behind the piece, etc. But I also think we need to go one step further. Now, very often I'm asked, are you a classical harpist? Oh, are you a lever harpist? Maybe you're an orchestral harpist or a classical harpist. There are lots of labels that we put on ourselves and on other people. And my answer to that question is, what kind of harpist am I? I say, I'm a musician who plays the harp. And I think it's really important to remember this. Listen to all styles of harp playing, and there's plenty out there these days. But there are lots of other music too, orchestral, choral, medieval, whatever. So important that you get experiences from all these different styles and keep listening, keep going to concerts, keep enjoying it. Even if you think you don't like jazz music, listen to some and see if you can find something that would enhance your own playing. So I'm going to finish with a piece from my book, Portraits. It was written for my students, for my pupils who come and have lessons with me. Some of them travel a long way. It's called On Your Way, and I think it's particularly appropriate for this tutorial to say that I really hope that you're all on your way too, and that you will keep exploring and keep enjoying your journey at the harp. Thank you very much for watching. Keep safe, keep enjoying, and come to the Edinburgh Harp Festival next year.